Ready?
No.
Ready? Let's go. That's
Hey.
it. That's all I got. Okay. What up, Splitches? Welcome to Split Ends Super Wild Card Edition. I'm Colleen Wolf with Erica Tamposi. We did it. Erica, we survived the biggest season ever. What a relief, honestly, that we're here. 14 playoff teams also survived with 7 new faces in the postseason, including the Eagles and the Patriots. Hubba, hubba. Our buddy ESPN's Mike Golic Jr. is going to stop by, talk playoffs, coaching changes, weird food habits, dads, and more. But before we get to that, Ricky, did I win another steak last week? I honestly can't remember.
I can't remember either. Aaron, are you tracking this? Because I totally black out after every show.
All I can remember is that the Bills also made the playoffs ahead of the Patriots, and I think we all deserve steaks for that. So I think we're good there.
Okay. Yeah. Either way, the Colts are out, so I can't lose any more stakes on that team that I was putting on all season. So happy about that. But yeah, no, it was a good weekend. I'm excited for playoffs. We made it through. You're right. I saw you blowing off some steam. You posted on Instagram that you were ice skating. And is that what trophy behind you? Is that did you pull out your ice skating trophy for this show?
Which that would be amazing. So they don't give trophies in figure skating. They give medals.
Right.
And all of my medals are back at home. But this trophy that's behind me in my shot, it's actually John's trophy. Okay. And Joe Thomas sent it to him for Christmas because John went to LaSalle University in Philadelphia, and LaSalle gives this award called the Shining Star Award. And
a college?
Yeah. And Mike Garafolo also went to LaSalle, who works with us at NFL Media, and Garafolo got a Shining Star Award from LaSalle. And so did all these other people that went to LaSalle, but John did not. And John is very upset about it. And it's something that still bothers him to this day. And so we were talking about it the last time I saw Joe Thomas for our last Thursday Night Football in Los Angeles. And he all of a sudden this gigantic box showed up at our doorstep on basically Christmas Eve. And it turns out it's a Shining Star trophy for John.
Oh my God. That is amazing and so thoughtful. And I bet John likes that better, so that's great.
That gift won Christmas for him. It was better than anything that I got John. So thank you, Joe Thomas, for saving Christmas. But no, it is not a figure skating trophy, but I did go skating and it was amazing. I had so much fun. I went by myself. I dropped John off at the movies to go see Spider-Man. And then I went ice skating. So we're children. We're not real adults.
I wish you would have called me. I would have loved to go skating with you.
I'll take you skating.
Yeah, that'd be great. I can go backwards a little bit. I'll
teach you how to spin.
Yeah. Well, do you have the figure skates have the picks on the front?
Yeah, the toe pick.
Yeah, see, I love that. I love that.
It's a lot, the figure skating blade, the rocker, is a lot different than hockey skates. So I've tried to skate with hockey skates before. And because I'm so used to pushing off with the toe pick, every time I get on the ice on hockey skates, I just fall flat on my face. That rocker is just not for me. So I'll take you skating. It'll be really fun. I was thinking when I was skating, though, because it was a public session and it was all of these families and kids and teenagers
for the holidays.
Exactly. And then I was there by myself and I was just skating around. And then I was in the middle, doing spins and stuff, just to see what I could still do.
Right.
And then I started to get kind of embarrassed because I was like, oh no, what if these people think that I just come to public sessions all the time to show off and get compliments?
This girl in the middle is just doing her spins. Come on, there's kids here.
It's so lonely. So yes, I would love for you to come skating with me. It's that'll be really fun. I'll teach you some tricks. It'll be great.
That's awesome. Yeah, my parents were in town this past weekend, which was great. But actually at our lake house, is a lake. And
that's what happens at a lake house.
One of our neighbors, the ice is about maybe 8 to 12 inches thick now. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they'll drive trucks across the ice.
What?
Yeah, I've seen it. It's insane. Not my parents or anyone, but people on the lake will drive trucks across. But they've cleared out this standard a hockey rink size on the ice. And then they, one of my neighbors has the hose and he's a hockey player. So they freeze it.
Your neighbor
has the
has a hose.
Yeah, you
What?
put the hose on the ice on
Got it.
on the pond hockey, right? And then you make it super smooth, and it's a regulation size hockey rink on the lake. So I am
that's
very jealous that
cool.
I'm not there skating on that.
I've never been skating on an actual like lake on a piece of like water that's frozen
That's what a
over.
lake is. Water.
I've never been on a body of
Watch your
water that's
back.
frozen over. So I'm kind of afraid of that.
It's really
It's
scary.
not really for me. Yeah.
It's really scary.
I feel like I saw way too many shows like that with kids falling through, and then that just scarred me for life.
I picture the Mr. Deeds, where they're skating and then he has to take the black foot to like break through the ice to get her out.
God, I can't. And producer Aaron is screaming "Little Women" on our chat here. So I mean, there's a lot of, I think, like triggering moments that I can't step on a lake or anything like that, a river. That's not for me.
Yeah.
A couple of other updates though that are non-figure skating related. Because we basically are the unofficial Manning Cast podcast at this point after last week. Rodgers went on last Monday, and what do you know? What happened to the Packers? They lost to the Lions. So the Manning curse is alive and well, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see if that continues, because I think they're doing the Monday wildcard game. But I guess they wouldn't have any players on because that's the last game. So,
right.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
But
what
maybe,
happens.
Hey, Colleen, one of those teams is going to lose.
One of them is going to go home. Couple of those teams and scenarios. Yes, the Pats and the Eagles, they're in the playoffs. Guess what? I'm heading to Tampa to see the game with Willie McGinnis.
That must feel pretty cool. You are like the Eagles girl. They're like, we're going to send the Patriots guy, Willie McGinnis. And who do we got to send? It's got to be Colleen.
I would be so upset if someone else went.
Yeah, imagine they were like,
I would just show up anyway, like a psychopath, and just like stand in the shot behind whoever was doing it.
Yeah.
So we'll be there for game day morning. I've actually never been inside of that stadium before, Raymond James.
I haven't either.
Yeah.
You weren't there for the Super Bowl?
I was there for the Super Bowl, but I didn't stay for the game after everything that had happened with Chris Wessling, our friend, who had passed away that weekend. And so I did the pregame show, but it was outside of the stadium. It wasn't even at the stadium. And then after the show, I left. And so I'm kind of dying to go to that game because I want to see the big ship. I want to see they shoot cannons, right? There's cannons that go off. Like, it's a whole thing. Yeah. I'm starting to get like my cannons mixed up with the Patriots and
their
the
muskets
Bucks with Tom Brady. Yeah, the muskets. That's right. They got muskets, and then the Bucks have cannons. Got it. But I really wanted to go to Buffalo when I was looking at the matchups. I mean, Eagles aside, obviously that's my number one choice. But a part of me really wanted to go to Buffalo because it's supposed to snow. It's supposed to be like freezing there. I feel like I could wear like a big babushka hat. And I just love the snow, and I haven't seen it in a while. So
so I was home in New Hampshire for Christmas and it snowed and it was icy and snowing, and we had the fire going, sitting by the tree, watching, movies. It was like so perfect. But after like 2 days, Jet and I were like, yeah, we got to get the hell out of here.
It's so just a couple days. That's all you need.
So cold.
And like, as long as you're not working or have any type of responsibility where you have to go outside, it's great. Basically a vacation. You need like I want a chalet or like a lodge scenario, cabin somewhere with a fireplace and snow. And then I won't do anything.
You don't have to leave. You don't have to move.
Exactly.
Yeah. Drink hot chocolate. Oh, that sounds great.
I know, right? You know what else sounds great? Our guest that's coming up here. Let's bring in Mike Golic Jr., foodie, ESPN superstar, Bachelor Live tweeter. He loves Taylor Swift, and we love him. Welcome to the show, Mike.
Guys, jazzed to be here. As soon as I saw you guys linking up and I listened to Katie come on here, I was like, I need to start dropping not so subtle hits on the internet that I want to come and be a part of this. And thankfully, I didn't even have to do that many. So this is wonderful.
It's like the universe told us that. So we're already on the same page. I love it. You, my friend, were at the national championship game last night. Georgia, you called it for them. Great job.
I'm going to take credit for that one, even though I did it with like the least amount of gusto. I was so scared. Like, once you've had Nick Saban personally whoop your ass in front of a national audience, you kind of are always scared of that happening again. And this time the take version, which would somehow feel just as bad.
I mean, so Erica had asked you right before we started recording, how tired are you right now? Like what time were you there until?
Yeah, I
that
saw
was
a tweet
night.
that you were like, oh no, my flight's in 3 hours. And I was like, oh, Mike.
I know every once in a while, I just like, it's just a full stream of consciousness tweet where it was me truly realizing in real time, like, oh, wow, this one got away from me a little bit because God love Indianapolis, as I'm sure you guys are well aware with the combine. Like you've got these little skywalks. And so I don't have to go outside at all and risk, my sweet baby skin being exposed to the cold. But it's also a long maze walk back to the hotel. And then you're jacked up on that post-game energy. And that 6 a.m. flight that felt like a good idea at the time is now just hanging over my head. So I am going to put a caffeine Band-Aid on this thing and try and be a tough radio man today.
I need to know a couple things about this this game that happened because Stetson Bennett the fourth, first of all, I love his name so much and I can't believe there are 3 others. And what a game he had.
It was incredible. Honestly, the most impressive thing that Stetson Bennett has done in my mind is I was flying home and I thought about how tired I was. And then I remembered this college kid who basically just lived out a real life movie as a former walk-on that gets to win a national championship at Georgia, had to wake up and do an interview on Good Morning Freaking America on video. He was the most hungover looking person I've ever seen. And somehow without hearing the audio, I knew the gravel in his voice because he had a long night of combination drinking and barking that went on after that. Because y'all, I did not know how involved the barking was from these Georgia fans. It's terrifying. Like there were people in Indianapolis calling the police on Georgia fans after the game because they were yelling and barking at strangers in the middle of the street after this game.
Oh my God. So no one has a voice this morning that is rooting for Georgia. No one.
There's absolutely no chance. There was so in the middle of the game when Pat Fryermuth catches a pass and people go Muth and the announcers make that joke like those aren't boos, they're Muths. Like this game, those weren't boos, those were grown people barking nonstop at 18 to 21 year olds.
That's amazing. So are you happy with the outcome? Like, was that what you wanted when you were going into this game? You have to stay, neutral, I guess, or the rules, I'm doing air quotes, but like, were you like, I want Georgia.
You did pick them.
Right.
Yeah, I want to be right. So I was very thrilled with the result because as you guys know, in the takes industry, all I care about is looking smart. But in general, I think it's always good when we get something new in the mix. Like this was the worry from a lot of college football fans that have seen the dominance of Alabama kind of take over the sport. So getting to see them, like, again, as a Notre Dame fan who hasn't seen a championship in my lifetime, to see a fan base that's gone 41 years in between national titles, that was pretty cool. And in the process, I got to see Kirby Smart, former Georgia defensive back, jump like 4 full feet in the air, trying to convince his defensive back to try and kneel down instead of going and returning an interception for a touchdown. So all of these things brought me great joy, which, no offense to Nick Saban, I don't think he's got that kind of vert anymore. I think that's something that only
especially
Kirby
with
Smart
those
possessed.
shoes he was wearing yesterday. They were, what were those?
Wait,
loafers?
I don't know about the shoes.
Someone was posting, it was like,
shoes.
he thinks he's going to win. He's wearing these like leather loafers, like looking, suave. Yeah. Game over.
Wait, speaking of Nick Saban's outfits, did you guys see Nick Saban's like old man bomber jacket that he wore off the plane?
It was so good. That was amazing.
So like, there's no, he's going to go home and burn it now, right?
Has to. I mean, what are you going to do with that now? It's got bad juju all over it.
Right.
There's
no chance.
I hate it because he walked in like feeling so confident and like sexy and he was smiling. And these are all things we don't get from Nick Saban. And now because it was negatively reinforced, I feel like we're not going to get it anymore.
No. I did see something on the internet. So, I did my own research. So, it's right that Saban and Bill Belichick have never won in the same year. Pats are in the playoffs. Saban lost.
Whoa.
I'm feeling a little good about this, little upset last night.
May have to call the old bookie.
Yeah, you may have to, if you know what I mean.
Golic, did you eat the halftime shrimp?
No, so I was really bummed. I was not up in the booth currently like the press box at that time when I just saw like pounds of shrimp because I'd never been to St. Elmo's before this trip.
Oh,
It was my first
That's a
time.
staple.
Ever. And like I went to college in the state of Indiana. I've been to Indianapolis before, and it just hadn't happened. What a weird kink, by the way, for Indy. Like
Right?
our thing is in a landlocked state, pile driving you a shrimp and then throwing a brand of cocktail sauce that's only charge in life is to hurt you if you don't eat it right. It's amazing.
It's a lot of pain, but I enjoy it, but just in small amounts. I also noticed, Mike, you seem to meet a lot of dogs in your travels, and I love that about you. I saw Butler Blue, you were hanging out with him, Diesel, the therapy pug. I mean, tell me everything about these guys.
So my family, somewhere along the way, we converted to the smushy face crowd. I don't know if you guys can see this on the Zoom. I actually have, it's a shirt with a little dog, but wait. Boop. He's giving you the finger.
Whoa.
He's giving you a little middle finger.
Wait a second.
I love that.
I don't understand how this works. Is it like a pocket that rolls?
The
up?
pocket. Flip the pocket down.
Oh my God. It's the coolest shirt ever. And this is the perfect medium for everyone to see it on
This
the podcast.
audio, yeah.
But it's something that's really cool, guys. And maybe you'll see it one day.
I can say the very well-known visual medium of podcasting that I just co-opted for a full 30 seconds of everyone's lives there. But yeah, no, like somewhere along the line, my family became this like fan of smushy face dogs. So we've got in our general family group, we've got one chocolate lab, my brother's dog named Chip, but then the other 5 dogs are 2 pugs and 3 bulldogs.
Oh my God.
And so I haven't gotten to see any of them in a while. And so Diesel comes over at like 7:00 in the morning when I'm getting ready to fly and just walks into my life. And he just looks exactly like my 11-year-old pug Hank.
Oh.
And I am like choking back tears. The lady like very kindly asked, she's like, would you like to pet Diesel? I go, would you like to leave Diesel here for the rest of the day with me?
For the rest of your life with me.
Diesel, do you want to come home with me? So what a great tone setter for a trip where I then facilitated a meeting. Me and Nicole Arbach over at The Athletic were literally texting the handler for Butler Blue, trying to facilitate like a meetup, like we were dogs trying to go play with them at the dog park. And he shut down the lobby of the JW Marriott. Like, you want to make a whole bunch of people's day, throw a bulldog in a festive vest in the middle of a hotel lobby and just watch us melt.
Oh my God. Well, see, I felt bad for the Georgia Bulldog because he just looked so tired at the game. They kept cutting to him and he looked exhausted. Like he just really wanted a nap, but there was a band playing and there were people screaming and he was in the middle of a game. I don't know. I felt for him in that moment.
You know, what's amazing is as I was talking to the handler for Butler Blue, and I'm sure these same principles would apply for UGA, they're like trained for these things from such an early age. Like I was asking him about it. And he's like, yeah, we have to start playing like loud music around him when he's a puppy. And he said we would literally introduce him to people and we would put different hats on them when they came up. So he got used to randos just coming up to pet him. So I was like, it's like a combine, but for dogs, where instead of going through that gauntlet where the receivers get all the ball, it's just this dog being greeted by fedoras and bowlers and backwards hats and all of these different things to train him.
Yeah, it's almost like they're the Navy SEALs of the dog community. They get trained very early. They go through all of these rigorous tests. Yeah.
I've always said about live mascots, you don't rise to the occasion, you fall to the level of your puppy training.
Oh, that's so good. Well, Mike, we're trying to make sense of what's hot and what's not in this crazy mixed up NFL world. So we need your help on this. We're going to switch off reading some headlines here, and then you must deem whether or not it is hot or not. Okay?
All right.
We're going to spin through a couple things here. So I'm going to start us off. Ready? Here we go. Rams head coach Sean McVay. He was caught off guard by the number of Niners fans at SoFi Stadium. And the refs caught off guard by Sean McVay sprinting into the end zone to celebrate Tyler Higbee's touchdown. Hot or not?
That's not. I saw that. I was like, is someone going to throw a flag on him or something?
Right.
Like, you're not supposed to do that. And I get that like Sean McVay's young and he's got a really well manicured beard and people want to let him do things like this for that reason. But no, man, you got to save that for the actual young people out there playing sports. Like, I don't know. That just seemed really weird. You know what that also made me think of too is somewhere on that sideline, there's a get back coach, that guy that's in charge of holding onto his belt loop, that is going to get absolutely reamed out in film on Monday. Like, Chuck, where were you? He's all the way over in the end zone. He's a dog off his leash.
I was thinking about the leashes that have like the really long cord and then you stop it and it pulls the dog back.
For babies.
I don't use them, but that's maybe what Sean McVay needs. His get back guy does.
What if we got coaches the baby harnesses
for
those
airports.
Get back coaches?
Yeah.
All right. So good.
The Colts become the first team since the merger to lose to a 2-14 team with a playoff berth on the line with hundreds of clowns in attendance. Hot or not?
It's so hot.
It is.
This might have been the hottest story of the weekend. One, because just the presence of clowns, like it's equal parts terrifying, hilarious, sponsors running, screaming from the building, trying to get away from this. But also for Carson Wentz to publicly poop his pants this badly on a stage like this is going to fuel the Take Industrial complex for the next calendar year.
Yes.
Like we've got a whole off season of like, if First Take needs it on a given day, just break glass and pull Carson Wentz out of there, and we have got a full-blown debate show.
It's true. It's true. And just watching Colts fans realize what it's like to have Carson Wentz as a quarterback, like I felt seen in that moment. I was like, I get it. I know what you're feeling right now.
I can say you guys get Nick Sirianni in the playoffs year one and this. Philly living right.
And the pick too. Now they have 3 first-round picks. Like everything is coming up Philly, and that usually doesn't happen. So especially there's a Philadelphia candle right behind me that I had lit for our last podcast. And after the podcast, I realized that I almost lit the lamp on fire, the shade, which I was like, you know what? That's would a good omen. That'd be perfect.
What does a Philadelphia candle smell like, by the way? Is it like Chicky and Pete seasoning?
Yeah, it smells like flat, beautiful things. It smells like the Jersey Shore and hot trash in the summer. It's great. It's exactly what you want your house to smell like. Okay, next one here. Jackson Mahomes. Oh, he's back. And he posted a TikTok of himself dancing on the sideline during week 18, and his jacket spelled Mahomes incorrectly. It was Mahoms, no E. Hot or not?
That's not hot because it reminds me of one of my saddest memories as a college athlete, which was like in college locker rooms. If you can walk out of 4 to 5 years without getting a bad tattoo in college, I salute you in a college football locker room because it is the most addictive, like contagious thing. I had a buddy of mine who had a tattoo spelled wrong and he didn't notice it. And so he was like proudly showing it off around the locker room, like, yo, guys, I just got splatted up, like, check all this out. And we all had to like look and like act like it was cool. And then when he walked away, had to like basically draw straws, like, who's going to tell him what happened? So
what was it? What was spelled wrong?
It was like some like Bible verse too, which is even worse because like the source material is pretty concrete. Like you're not interpreting this. You don't have to do a whole lot of like other addition on your own. So there was like a full blown vowel missing. It was just 2 consonants jammed together in a place it shouldn't be. It was, God, that's not a conversation you ever want to have with someone. So Jackson, be glad it's just a jacket.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
it's weird when it's terrible when tattoos go wrong. My sister has a tattoo on her lower back that she drew it up herself and she brought it to the tattoo artist. And when the tattoo artist was done, she gave my sister a mirror and said, I went ahead and added some shading and some whiskers to your lion in the middle of the sun. And my sister took a look at it and it was nowhere near what she wanted. And so she still has it. And it's something else. It's a work of art. That's for sure. You never want a tattoo artist to be like, you know what? I went ahead and added some things, some pizzazz here, some flair. Never works out.
I took some creative liberties with this thing that's, by the way, though, respect to your sister for not going for the cover up or anything. It's just like, no,
she's like, this is life.
I took the gamble. Gonna live with it.
Yeah, that's who she is. Mary Wolf.
So Mike, according to a graphic circulating on Twitter by VBS official, the Miami Dolphins have finished the season 9-0 versus quarterbacks who have an O in their last name and are 0-8 against QBs who don't have an O in their last name. Hot or not?
Definitely hot. because it's finally time that analytics started going even deeper to the next level, right? Like we have left
There
name
aren't enough.
analytics off the table. No. Like again, this is something I feel like we need to get like a mutual friend of all of us and your guys' coworker. Cynthia Freeland needs to start crunching the numbers on names a lot more. She's been missing the boat on this for a while.
I mean,
Absolutely.
imagine there's so many possibilities now. There's so many roads you can go down and letters and things like that. I mean, come on, there's so many in the alphabet.
And coming off the national title last night, like, is Stetson Bennett the fourth now the longest in a line of names to win a college championship? Like, if we had a fifth,
that's a great one. Who knows what could happen? We got to get Cynthia on that. That's a great idea. So Steelers fans, Mike, they are donating to Raiders kicker Daniel Carlson's charities of choice after his kick opened a spot for Pittsburgh in the postseason, ending the tie scenario that we all dreamed about.
So that is hot. Not getting the tie sucked. Like, as someone who may have been in a public place watching that game and may have on multiple occasions started a tie chant for the rest of the people at the establishment. I can tell you I was deeply invested in this. But that being said, like, this is one of the greater legacies of the Buffalo Bills fan base of all time. This like charitable donating to teams that weirdly help you backdoor into the postseason.
Yes.
So shout out to Bills Mafia for like incepting this idea into the football universe.
Absolutely. Mike, this is an important one in the football world. Emily in Paris was renewed for a third season. Hot or not?
I don't know what that is.
Punt. I did not see it. I'm going to guess it's hot because everyone seems to like that show. Like, it gets talked about a lot. I've never seen someone actually review it. I just see the name trend every once in a while. And so I assume that it's kind of like the Wordle thing where I'm supposed to know about it. I know enough to like not get outed in conversation, but you guys, I'm professing to you, I have no idea what Emily in Paris is about other than I'd assume a person named Emily in Paris.
Can you tell us more about Wordle?
So
I just started trying to play yesterday.
So did you have the same thing I did? Because like I had to like, first off, it's really hard to find, like, the branding for this is really strong on billboards, but they don't tell you where to go to actually do this. So I had to do a bunch of light Googling and get to an article and click a backdoor link. And that doesn't tell you the rules in any way that really helps. So I'm just rifling off guesses. I get to the bottom. I got one letter right. And I feel like an idiot. And I'm not going to post that to Twitter. Everyone else has 6 greens. I want all those greens. So it took a couple of days of like shame doing it in silence before I was ready to tell the public.
Yeah. I'm not there yet, but I mean, Tamposi, you got to get on board. I tweeted maybe 30 minutes before we started recording, WTF is this Wordle thing? Like, why do you got to tweet it? Just do what you got to do in the privacy of your own home.
Erica, you know this. If you don't show it to the world, nothing counts anymore. No one has ever rose and ground without posting the workout video on Instagram. No one has ever Wordled without flaunting. Like this, honestly, though, my spin zone on Wordle is I would always get jealous of like smart people like Mina Kimes posting their New York Times crossword puzzle where they would post the time they do it in, because I'm way too stupid to do crossword puzzles. Wordle's right in my wheelhouse of like, I'm coherent enough to be able to do this and participate. So
I'm more of a like word hunt person myself. Like that's more my speed. Crossword puzzles is where it gets a little dicey for me.
Mike, what's your opening word for Wordle? Or do you change it every day?
I've changed it every day. The one I thought about like trying to make my like version of like the RSTLNE on Jeopardy was alive, just because it's a bunch of vowels in there, couple of like generic consonants here. So it gives me some room to grow. But that one, it felt good, but still tinkering.
I'm going to try that. That's a good hack right there. Okay, moving on from Wordle. How about this? Niners Cowboys Super Wildcard Weekend game will be the Nickelodeon game this weekend. So Slime, hot or not?
Oh, Slime, very hot here.
Hot.
As someone who just proudly got to be on the call for a bowl game that doused the winning head coach in mayonnaise, I am very pro putting different unusual things inside the container instead of giving a coach a Gatorade or a water bath.
Okay.
I have so many questions about the Mayo Bowl. We'll get to that in a second, though.
Absolutely. So Matt Rule was asked why the Panthers signed Darnold's 5th-year option so early, and he just sounded like someone who is really, really proud of that decision. Let's take a listen.
Bless him.
Bringing him here to be the starter, knowing that if he had a great year, that he would be a high price guy, and if he's a starter at that number, that's low end starter money. So that was a decision made. It was a collective decision, and I can't have much more to say than that. To be honest with you.
Hot or not?
Oh, it's so not hot, and it's giving me like severe anxiety, because I have had that exact sounding conversation with so many friends that have tried to set me up with friends of theirs on dates when I have to explain to them, hey, how'd it work out with so-and-so? And I feel like, well, we got together and then we made this collective decision that just, at this time I had a lot going on with work and it's football season. And, so yeah, that's, boy, wow. I wasn't prepared to feel that just now. That hurt.
I know. It reminded me of when I was in high school and I would get in trouble. And it was like, no, we went to Talia's house first and then we ended up going to David's, or like, that wasn't mine. I didn't bring that. I'm holding it for a friend. Like all of those things. It was just very, very uncomfortable. Poor Matt Rule. Okay. Last one. A woman went into labor, Mike, during the Steelers game. Her water broke during the first half, but she waited until the end of the game to go to the hospital.
That
it's the hottest. It's scalding. It's hotter than the sun. I am terrified. But like, first off, the power of like mothers in general, new mothers. Like we hear all those stories about them being able to deadlift a car and stuff like that. This woman literally staved off birth. Like if I hold my pee in for a little bit too long on a road trip, I am reduced to tears. And this woman held in an entire baby to finish a Steelers season, to watch Mike Tomlin once again defeat the 500 record mark with everything in him. I applaud this woman. Wow.
That's amazing. Mike,
also,
quick.
Go ahead.
You got to tell the pee pants story really fast. The photo.
Oh God. Yeah. So I have a very notorious football pee pants photo that's circulated out there. It actually hangs in my parents' den in their house. Like they're proud of it. It was senior day at Notre Dame. Me and my brother were both seniors. Like I was a 5th year. My brother was a true senior. So we got to run out there together and meet our parents, and my mom's sobbing. Like everyone's really emotional. But before games, I get way too hydrated, and our pants, the color gold they are, it renders really poorly for sweat and any other fluids in there.
That's unfortunate.
And so I'm getting ready and I'm getting hyped to run out there. And, if you move a little bit too wrong when you got to go to the bathroom, sometimes just a little bit leaks out. And so I ended up with what I would describe as a dollop of pee in the front of my pants in all of these senior day pictures that are supposed to be this lifetime lasting memory. So I've got my arm around my sweet mother who's wiping away tears, my dad and brother, and then there's just me in little pee pants showing up to the party.
And it's framed in
the favorite Golic story ever.
That's really great. You're an amazing person. All right, you mentioned the Mayo Bowl, so I need to get into this a little bit more. You did let's talk about the Oreo in the Mayo. Who put you up to this? Did you do this on your own? What did it taste like? What tell me all of the things, because it's very strange.
It is extremely strange. Honestly, it was on a whim. So Anish Shroff, who's the play-by-play announcer on our crew, during the middle of the week was like, you know what? We're doing this Mayo game. We knew that there was going to be a Mayo bath for the winning coach. And he just kind of started looking up Mayo stuff on the internet. And we found literally one of those BuzzFeed aggregation articles that was the 17 weirdest things to eat with mayonnaise. And he was like, what if we did some of these? And we didn't really talk about it. And then the day before the game, the guy who is our booth coordinator was like, all right, so what do you want to have the runner go get? And so we just kind of decided then, we're like, all right, these 3 foods sound pretty good. I I knew there was going to be some response here because Mayo is the most polarizing condiment on planet
Ever.
Earth. I did not think that this would get me online cursed out by R&B legend Dionne Warwick.
Oh no!
Oh, yes.
Dion got after you?
Miss Dion quote tweeted the video of me and Anish eating Oreos, added ESPN, and said, you need to put these young men on paid leave so they have time to think about what they've done. To which I say, Miss Dion, thank you for the mercy of paid leave.
Yeah.
She is such a gem on Twitter, and I'm sorry that she blew up your spot. Little humble brag, we follow each other. I met her on a flight.
What?
Yeah.
So you can help me mend this fence.
I
then, 'cause
might
want
be
her
able
mad
to
at
bridge
me.
the gap here. This is my favorite thing was we were getting on the plane and her phone rings and she has a Whitney Houston ringtone because I didn't realize I think that's her niece. And she could not have been nicer. She was so sweet. So I think that maybe I can help broker some peace between the two of you. That this is something that we can work on.
I definitely need that help because the one other thing that I think is going to be a lot harder to mend is I also got tagged. Some Australian media outlet wrote an article about why my on-air Mayo moment was the reason that America was beyond saving.
I mean, are they wrong?
No.
They're not. I mean, come on. Like that's crazy. So Mike, let's also talk. Last night we were talking about it at the top of the show, how you were at the national championship game. What did you do about The Bachelor? How did you watch it this morning? Did you DVR
Wait a second.
it?
I'm so sorry. Hold on. Before we get into The Bachelor, I have a couple more questions about the Mayo Bowl because I need to know, like, the coach had an entire vat of mayo dumped on him. Like, if you were the coach, would you let that happen?
Oh, absolutely. Again, we're in the content business. Like I was flirting with the idea of offering it, and they at least got the kind folks decided that Duke's Mayo, it was going to be $10,000 to the charity of the winning coach's choice. Should they participate? They basically guilted them with charity into doing this. But the wild part, Colleen, was that so I watched all the practice dumps that they did. I was talking to the people that set it up because they had to get the viscosity of the mayo right. You had to cut it with a little bit of water so it would flow out and look good.
There were practice dumps? What?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. They were tweeting them and stuff too, right?
But the problem with the practice dump was they didn't use any sort of dummy or person as a proxy for the coach. And so they didn't realize how high they were going to have to lift this up. 4.5 gallons of mayonnaise and some water is heavy. And so it ended up bashing Shane Beamer, South Carolina's head coach, in the head. I legit thought he was going to be in the protocol.
That's a lot. That's terrible and disgusting at the same time. Like you got beat up by Mayo. Like that's horrible.
I thought we were going to be like showing on camera his lifeless, unconscious body being just dumped with mayo that they couldn't stop them. Like what a sad end to it would have been. To what has been like a great moment. Like your team just won this bowl game. You're doing great. And now you're a certified Mayo boy.
The fact that there is a Mayo Bowl just in general kind of boggles my mind at this point. There's a lot of different bowls, but the Mayo Bowl is like winning the Mayo Bowl and then having like instead of Gatorade dumped on you like mayo. I just don't know if that's something I would want. Like maybe if you lose the game, you should have the mayo dumped on you. I don't know if this should be workshopped at all.
I don't know. I think it's great.
Yeah.
You know what? It's one of those things too, like Pandora doesn't go back in the box now.
That's true.
I said I think the Tony the Tiger Bowl where they dumped Frosted Flakes on Herm Edwards. We had the Cheez-It Bowl where Cheez-Its got dumped on somebody. The famous Idaho Potato Bowl did French fries.
I love all of those things.
Yeah.
This was just the natural progression. Like college football is a weird place, man. You got to kind of get down in the muck, or in this case, the mayo.
All right. So also a weird place, back to The Bachelor, because I don't watch it. I don't know anything about it. And Erica, she's all over this because you're always tweeting about it too.
Yeah. So I'm just curious, with even last night you were at this game, how do you watch The Bachelor? Did you watch it this morning? How do you normally, through the NFL season, I see you live tweeting not only The Bachelor, but Monday Night Football. How do you do that? And also what's your scouting report on Clayton so far?
So yeah, so the way I do it, and I always have to remind people because you'd think like I'm like 6 years into being a part of the Bachelor universe as a dedicated tweeter. And so you'd think after all that time, people would understand. I've got a 2 TV setup at home. Like the most single 32-year-old dude thing about me is I have like a 60-inch TV just sitting on the ground in my living room
Right.
below another larger TV. And so I'll put the Bachelor up on the TV up top with sound and then put Monday Night Football on the TV
So the
down
bigger
below it.
TV gets the Bachelor.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because I
This is
got to
great
hear
insight.
that one. Like I don't need to hear what's going on. Like no offense, our Monday Night crew does a great job, and I like to flip back over there sometimes. Everyone should check all them out. Like they're wonderful, but it's just I need to know what's going on with this because football's much more visual with Clayton. So what's interesting is, and to your point about how I dealt with the national title last night. Normally, if I'm going to miss, I have to kind of stay off the internet because I don't want spoilers and stuff like that. In this case, I had to avoid my coworker. Jesse Palmer was right there next to me, who's hosting this season. Like I'm sitting in the green room watching this game, just staring out of the corner of my eye at Jesse. And I was like, I want to ask him so badly and find out everything.
Right.
But I also like going through this journey with everybody, unspoiled. I'm not a guy that's going to go look up like reality Steve spoilers and all that stuff. And
Right.
so I just had to flat out ignore Jesse Palmer because I knew if I started talking to him, I would just word vomit all over myself and end up ruining things.
That's
Right.
incredible restraint by you.
Yeah, that is.
I'm really impressed. There's no way I would have been able to do that. I saw your pinned tweet that you have on Twitter from 2019. If I was a girl, I would own nothing but crop tops, which just made me die laughing. I love your love for The Bachelor. It's really something special.
I also genuinely love crop tops. Like who doesn't like to air it out a little? Like, and maybe it's because I'm a bigger guy and I run kind of hot. So the notion of just having like a cooling system in the middle there where like a nice breeze will really just put you back at even keel. Crop tops are great. Like I'm trying to normalize them for everyone. I went to Nantucket 2 years ago and rocked a crop top at Cisco Brewery. And you know what? People were a little caught off guard at first, but eventually they understood that my navel also deserved to see the sun.
Yes. Fight that good fight. Fight that good fight.
That's important.
So I was really excited to talk Bachelor with you. Colleen obviously is not plugged in on the
not.
series. I'm so plugged in, Mike, that actually when I saw a contestant from Michelle's season in Starbucks a few weeks ago, I just sent you a photo with no text, just a photo of him sitting in the Starbucks. And you were like, yep, there he is. You should ambush him and interview him. But like, no, not even a text like, hey, Mike, it's Erica. Look who I saw in Starbucks. Like just a zoomed in photo of a Bachelor contestant. And then you and I were just like, let's get him.
Listen,
That's your brand.
What's understood doesn't need to be explained. And I just knew like, all right, she saw an opportunity and immediately went into investigative journalism mode. So you're
Right.
just willing to do the work that others won't.
Absolutely.
She's our
Absolutely.
intrepid reporter. It's great. So yeah, I don't watch The Bachelor, but I watch a bunch of other shows. Did you guys see White Lotus season 2? Aubrey Plaza is joining the cast.
I
That's
did.
very
I saw the
exciting.
trailer. That's great.
I can't
That's
wait for
great.
that. Also, Euphoria is coming back for their
I
second
can't
season.
watch that. It's too upsetting.
Okay,
I'm too
so-
old. Like I'm too like my high school wasn't like that, and maybe it is like that today. And I can't handle that. That high school is like that if that's real and what kids are going through. I just can't. It's too much. It's like WAP by Cardi B. It's just too graphic for me. I can't listen to it.
Wow, I didn't realize that was going to be such a trigger. I was going
It
to ask you
upsets me.
guys if I should watch the first season because I haven't seen it, but now it feels like maybe no, based on your
I
reaction.
don't know.
to
Maybe
that.
you're tougher than me, Call. I just
It is like my high school, there was no peer pressure in my high school. Like we went bowling on Thursday nights. Like it was so weird. We were so lame. And so someone said, I haven't seen Euphoria yet, but someone sent me like an opening scene of Zendaya, like partaking in drugs in the backseat of a car where someone's got a gun. I'm just like,
it's
Wha-
yeah.
it's so different. It's so different from my high school.
But like, is
So,
that real? Is that what kids are going through these days?
That's like birth control to me.
I want to scoop them up in my
I'm never
arms
having a child.
and hug them. And like, what happened to Dare? What happened to Dare?
that program really failed if shows like Euphoria are going to
You
dominate
know what
the
I mean?
zeitgeist
Like,
like this.
where is Dare coming out with their statement on this damn show?
You know what the worst part
Pennsylvania
is
used to have a Dare license plate, and I'm so sad that I never got my hands on one.
I feel like the people that you see wearing Dare shirts now are like for sure the ones actually doing the drugs.
Oh,
I have
like
one.
there were same. I want a vanity plate, a California vanity plate that's Dare with the periods in between.
Oh, it's so good. I wish I could go grab it right now. I wish I was wearing it right now. That would be awesome.
What does Dare stand for? Drugs are really expensive.
No,
Exciting.
drug resistance.
Drug abuse resistance education.
Education.
Yeah.
Got
I'm
it.
By the way,
a little
which could be
dyslexic.
drugs are really euphoric.
Yes.
That's maybe you should talk to them.
Or
Is that
really
program still around?
expensive. Where are these high school kids coming up with all this? Oh, well, they're it's like a rich town. Got it.
Okay, so
Okay.
that's good to know. And then also, last thing about TV, and then we'll actually talk a little bit of football, I promise, quickly before we let you go. I just started watching Sex Life of College Girls, and
I haven't started it.
absolutely love it. It's so good, and John loves it too.
Wow. Okay. See, that I was waiting for someone to kind of give me the push into that one because you guys know, like, getting towards the end of football season, especially with college done now, I finally have this void of time that I can fill with content, and I probably need. So, is Sex Life of College Girls? Is it like funny?
Yes, it's so it's so funny. It's like four girls. They didn't know each other. They're all roommates in college. And it's just like every single one of them has a different type of story. And it kind of, it's super relatable. And you have the girl, like, just like them finding themselves and being on their own. And it's goddamn hilarious.
All right, see, because I need like balance in my TV watching, and that sounds like the perfect antidote. I made the mistake of starting to watch Station 11 on HBO, which is basically just what if the pandemic went even worse
and never ended, and like it was like a whole thing. Yeah, I read the book, and then the HBO show came out, and I'm like, yeah, I can't do this. I can't.
I don't
really
know anything about
upset
that one.
About the TV shows that are happening right now. It's really upsetting. Like so maybe I do need, the, what's it called? Sex College Girls?
Sex Life of College Girls. Yeah, it's Mindy Kaling who did it.
Yeah. So maybe I need something light. The Harry Potter reunion, something nice.
Oh, I still haven't watched that yet. I am going to sob.
Yeah.
I'm not plugged into that.
Sorry. Potter?
Yeah, I'm not. It's
Man.
it's a lot, and I was far behind.
Were you a Twilight girl?
No.
Okay.
Erica, I was a figure skater, and that was my entire identity for basically the first 15 years of my life.
That's true. That's true.
All right, let's get into a little bit of football because now we have 6 teams that need a new head coach: Jags, Raiders, Dolphins, Vikings, Broncos, Bears, unless, of course, the Raiders keep Rick Bisaccia. Mike, which job would you want at this point, just looking through all the different openings and the state of each team?
Yeah, I've been landing on the Broncos for a while now, just because there seemed to be, and that was kind of how we talked about and framed this team going into this season, was they've got so much else in place. Now, we know offensively, injury robbed them of some of those skill weapons here. Jerry Jeudy was in and out of the lineup for a lot of the season, Hamler with the injury, but you've got so much in place. All they really needed was a quarterback. And so if I'm someone coming in, getting ready to take over that team, they're going to be the team we talk about in the, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers sweepstakes all offseason when we wind that thing up again. So it just feels like there's so much there. And that defense, I know a lot of that is Vic Fangio and who they bring in and hire to coordinate the defense is ultimately going to matter in that. But there's still a lot of really good parts on that were a solid unit this year. So I just think they have so much to offer.
Denver's a good one. You have to deal with Mahomes and Herbert in your division, which is a pain. But the Miami situation was interesting to me. I was really surprised that Stephen Ross fired Flores and not Chris Grier. Like, that's pretty weird because Grier picked Tua, and he picked him over Justin Herbert. No one's ever going to forget that. Right. But why fire Flores, especially if like Jim Harbaugh is not going to be the guy that they bring in, with Stephen Ross being like a Michigan guy?
Yeah, this seems to be like a bizarre ego battle, likely over the quarterback situation here. And, we had seen this had been an up and down year very publicly for Tua and that organization. The trade deadline was wrought with all those conversations about Deshaun Watson. But I just, if you're a coach, what's appealing about that job? Like, because you mentioned the quarterback thing, Chris Greer has also managed to put together one of the worst offensive lines in the league that's constantly had that quarterback under fire. And even though you got all these picks coming up, he's still the guy making them. So it's a hard situation to trust if you're an outsider. And, you know, Brian Flores is going to be a guy that gets a job again, I'd imagine sooner than later. So maybe this is a godsend for him getting out of there.
I also really like Minnesota because, you know, they got rid of Mike Zimmer and their GM. And I think you have Dalvin Cook, you have Justin Jefferson. I think that team is really great, even though they have their second, season under 500. But at the same time, you got to figure out what's going on with Kirk Cousins. But I think that would probably be like, I feel like that team is further along than some of these other ones. So I feel like that would be a job that I would be interested in. If I was a qualified coach.
How long are they able to keep the talent that they have there in town too?
Right.
But when I'm looking at these teams, I'm looking at the team that's in the Vikings division and the Bears, because I don't know what you guys think of Justin Fields, but he hasn't really had an offense that's been built around him. And they have Allen Robinson, who free him, please, at some point, like, come on, bring someone in that can help him out. Like, the Bears usually give head coaches a little bit of time too before they fire them. Like, they're not a reactionary organization. So that one to me seems promising, especially if Justin Fields can pan out. But
I'm not touching that organization with a 10-foot pole though. I don't know. Just the Bears in general. And maybe it's just from the past. How they haven't lived up to what they are, but I don't know, just something about the Bears for me. I'm just like, I'm all set.
Yeah, this is going to be I don't know. I mean, this is another one of those spots. Jim Harbaugh's name is going to get put in so many locations. Obviously, a guy familiar with this franchise as a player, but man, Colleen, I think I tend to side with you. Like, having a young quarterback with the kind of ability that he does, we saw so many flashes of good stuff, just marred by an offense that didn't really seem to know what quarterback it had under center. Like, they were running offenses that seemed like it was designed for someone with the polar opposite skill set of that guy. So it's going to be about, can they protect him in the interim? But you've still got so much to work with at that spot. And if you're a head coach out there that liked him coming out and was on another team that didn't draft him, like, you've got your shot to do what I think every coach wants to in this league, which is have a chance to stamp and take credit for the success of a quarterback, because they know that position's the most tied to their job longevity.
Like Urban Meyer.
Ooh.
Zing.
Bring in the clowns.
Oh my God. Doug Peterson's a name that has been connected to the Bears in Chicago, also with the Jags as well. I was thinking about this before we brought you on, and I talked to your dad at the draft this year, and we talked some Eagles stuff. But did you grow up an Eagles fan? Like, what's your deal with that?
I did, yeah. So I grew up an Eagles fan during, Andy's run there. Like, I was there for the good times, like Jeremiah Trotter in that defense, Lito Shepherd, Sheldon Brown. All of those. It was a fun time. And I mean, that was the 4 straight NFC championships and the Super Bowl run and Donovan puking in the huddle and all that.
Oh, my memories. Such fond memories. The air guitar game. My God. Yeah. What is it? So yeah, I was there pretty much all through high school. Like, I went so far at one point for like Christmas back before it was like too associated with being a frat star. I had a Donovan McNabb Mount Carmel basketball jersey from where he went to high school. Yeah. Stop it. That's incredible. I love that. All right. I'm not going to get like too crazy talking about Eagles in Philadelphia.
Wait, but so are you an Eagles fan now?
No, because then once I went through like college and then tried to go and play in the NFL, and everyone either cut me, hello to the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Saints twice, or didn't sign me, I was kind of like, all right, well, now it's kind of like stolen the shine. And I just mostly root for guys that I still know that are playing and stuff like that. So just, going through the process kind of was like, all right, like I'm good on all this.
Nice.
Okay. So I know you got to get out of here soon. We'll wrap it up real quick here with just looking ahead to wildcard weekend. Which games are you most interested in, least interested in? What do you think about the Eagles' chances against the Bucs?
Honestly, the Bucs and how banged up they are on the perimeter makes this fascinating. Like, I know the strength of their defense is ultimately in the spot where the Eagles are going to want to live. Nick Sirianni made the smart move of saying, hey, we're going to lean in and be the rushing team that, Colleen, I'm sure you and the rest of the fan base were dizzy from screaming constantly during the season at him to just run the damn ball for the love of God.
That TNF game against the Bucks, that was like peak run the ball season.
Yep.
And then they changed.
And it's been all great there. Jalen Hurts has gotten himself, I think, another year under center there for sure. So that one's interesting to me. But honestly, and I know some of this is caked in recency bias, but I'm just fascinated what's going to happen between the Raiders and the Bengals. Like you've got, especially a Bengals team that now that we've seen Georgia sports kind of get the come up, I was kind of workshopping this earlier today. Like who's the factory of sadness fan base, like state now that Atlanta's, a World Series and a college football national championship been liberated, and Cincinnati and the Bengals feel close as far as a fan base that's been so beaten down by mediocrity for so long. And now they got the quarterback and he's calling his wideouts freak shows. And we got Cigar Joe Burrow post game. So can he swagger his way to a playoff win? I think would be awesome for the NFL because young quarterbacks help keep this league afloat. But it just combine that with what Derek Carr has overcome on the other side, coming off the, plenty of shots we'll see of the would have been tie game and that timeout. I think that one's got a lot of really interesting juice to it.
Yeah, that's the one game that I'm really having a hard time picking too, because I've picked the Bengals at first, but now I've talked myself into the Raiders. So I keep going back and forth. The Raiders defense has been really good the last month. They've allowed like 19 points per game. Their offense, the Raiders, is more balanced now. I mean, Carr's had some really clutch plays, but this Bengals team there's just something about them. They look so good with Chase and T. Higgins like emerging now as a playmaker. And then Joe Mixon obviously going up against the Raiders run defense that is not great. I think they're like 20th against the run. So we'll see how that game goes. A lot to get to. We don't have time to do the rest with you though. So we're going to do one last thing. It's our split end of the week. It's a little award that each of us is going to give. And if you have one, you can throw one out. If not, you can vote on which one you like better between mine and Erica's. So Aaron, hit that saxophone.
Ooh, when those drums come in, it can only mean one thing. It's time for the split end of the week. Hit me with the saxophone.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Oh, so smooth.
Erica, why don't you go first with yours?
Yeah, if you are voting, I have a feeling I know which way you're going to go. But I am going to give the split end of the week to Derek Carr's eyeliner. Is it tattooed on? Is it natural? Does he add it? I mean, talk about the most beautiful application, and I think it goes to him, and it was in its full glory on all of our television screens.
Yeah, with the tight zooms too. I just love.
Yeah,
I love it. He's got great full lashes. That's a good one. My split end of the week is going to go to Golic sleeve, and I'm just wondering if you can convince John to maybe get one tattoo, or an entire sleeve, because like it's not too late for him.
No, it's never too late. Listen, I want that for everybody here. I think it's
same.
What a time where we've moved beyond the other preconceived notions about tattoos now. So yes, listen, I'll do whatever it takes. I'll start spamming him with tweets. I can send them to the lady that did my tattoos. She's wonderful. You'll love her. So we can make this happen.
I love this. This is what I want for myself and for John in 2022. So that's great. Do you have one you want to throw out there, or would you like to deem a winner?
So I feel like in the name of supporting the tattooing here, I've got to vote Colleen and say this one's the winner, especially because it was my sleeve on my body here.
Specific, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I can offer up a split end of the week, I would,
Yes.
Much like the famous clue given in, I believe, the Goblet of Fire, Harry Potter, I open at the close.
Right.
Let's go all the way back to hungover Good Morning America Stetson Bennett as the
Such a good
ideal
one.
post-championship aesthetic.
Very, very good. That's an awesome one.
I think that's great.
You've been tremendous per usual, and coming off a late night and a busy night working the national championship game, you just crushed it once again here on the Split Ends podcast. Come back anytime and maybe we'll all get tattoos together.
Oh, see, you laugh. I have made the same offer to all of my friends. If you're nervous about going for your first time alone, I'll get one with you. So I will gladly go get a couple's tattoo with you guys.
Amazing.
I love that.
That's so good. Maybe, Erica, we should get a tattoo that says, let's split. Later, everybody.